We are still living in the era of superhero movies, and there are many amazing superhero movies that most of the population have probably watched. Today, I want to talk about some of the most underrated superhero movies that you should definitely go check out if you haven't yet. These movies, most of them have influenced modern superhero movies, and some of them are just so different from the superhero movies we know that it just makes it so much better. So to kick off the list, I have Dread that came out in 2012 starring Carl Urban. This movie was shot here in South Africa and it was just fantastic. It was more comic accurate Judge Dredd that's different from the 90s version with Sylvester Stallone. And it was just such a fantastic take on the character. It's a shame this movie hasn't received a sequel yet. Next up, I have Kick-Ass 2. Now, Kick-Ass 1 definitely also deserves to be on this list, but I feel like a lot of people have seen that one. And not many people talk enough about Kick-Ass 2. It's just fantastic. Aaron Taylor Johnson and Chloe Grace Moretz are just some of the best actors, and they really made these roles of them so cool. And also Jim Carrey as Colonel Stars and Stripes was just fantastic and funny. It's one of his best roles. And Kick-Ass is just so much fun. It's not your typical superhero movie since the people don't actually have powers. It's just some guys standing up to be mass vigilantes and to try and make a difference. And it doesn't always end in the best way, but the movie does have some awesome gory action if you're into that. And I also have one of my childhood favorite superhero movies, Sky High. I loved this movie as a kid, and to this day, I think I can still rewatch it. In a way, this movie probably serves as an inspiration for modern superhero movies in keeping it family friendly. It had a cool cast and an awesome story. It kind of felt like a little too much Disney like, but it didn't look that way. It was just fantastic. And it might be a little campy to watch it today, but I still love it. I have Ang Lee's Hulk, not the Incredible Hulk, the Hulk directed by Ang Lee. Sure, this movie might not be perfect, but it had such a great take on Bruce Banner and the Hulk, and it focused on his trauma, his childhood trauma, and why it influenced who the Hulk was. I mean, they could have given us a better villain and they could have handled the story a little better, but the movie we got is just so underrated, and I think if you went back and rewatched it today, you will see a better movie than you remember. And then I have Chronicle, a found footage superhero movie that started Josh Trank's career and also had an amazing cast featuring Michael B. Jordan, Dane DeHaan, and Alex Russell. All three of them were just awesome in this movie. It's definitely a lot different than most superhero movies since it's part of the found footage genre. It also has a few horror elements, and the ending is quite controversial in a good way. It's just a fun movie, and it's done so excellently on a low budget that you just can't help but love it. And that's my list. 5 underrated superhero movies. What superhero movies do you think are underrated? And what movies do you think I should include in my next list? Which of these movies that I mentioned do you really like?